This is the second of 3 tutorials about the use of Powerproject 15 and Site Progress Mobile, the re-engineered version. So this tutorial is about using the mobile app itself. So just a refresher for those who haven't been here before. So we have a project in Powerproject 15, which is the latest one, and then that information is uploaded by the Powerproject user who identifies who's going to update it. That goes to the cloud. The person with the mobile device logs in, gets login detail from the Powerproject user, downloads the information, progresses it over a period of time, and when it's finished at the designated time, sends information back to the cloud, and then the originator, the Powerproject user, downloads that and integrates it into the plan. So the first tutorial we looked at was in detail about the Powerproject user and how they configure the project, create users, assign them, and all of those aspects. This second tutorial is focused on the mobile user. So this is where you download information, all the things that you can do with it, and what all of those things mean. And then when you finish doing that, you can upload it to the cloud. So that is this second tutorial on the use of Site Progress Mobile for Powerproject 15. So you download and install the Site Progress Mobile application. And on first opening, first use, you can either activate it in demo mode. It means you can play around with things, but you can't change it. But you will have been sent information from your colleague which has got your email address and a login password. So you tap on the login button, and you need to be connected to the internet at this point, and you will be given an email. You need to enter it and make a new account, and I've already done that, so I can go straight in. So it will remember that information from this point onwards until you actively log out. So now it's connecting to the cloud, and it's seeing if there's any projects for me to act on, and it's going to tell me about that. Now, so there I have a list of available projects. There may be more than one that has been allocated to myself. So as it says, click to download. So I just tap on this area, and then it actually brings the data to the phone. So this is the only time you need to have a reasonable connection, and then it is updated on your phone, and you no longer need to have a data connection necessarily. So I'm just going to go back to the list of projects at the top, because I want to draw your attention to the progress date. So this is the date that your colleague who was using Powerproject, he wants this date to be the one where you collect progress up to. So this is the week ending the 9th of June, and so they want to know what's happened up to that point, and all of the metrics about when things should have happened are based on this date. So we just tap to go inside. So I want to take a minute to talk about the navigation of the system. This has been changed since our initial release, and so we have some high-level headings, which are the summary activities inside a Powerproject plan. And we don't show you how you got there. We only give you the last parent activity, which have got children within it, and there's an information button that you can click on, and that will show you the full, what's called the chart path, the hierarchy, the work breakdown structure in the project. So this is the site preparation for the general construction in sector 3, so you know where this is located. So in this section there is activities to progress, and they are all related to site preparation, or in this case house building. So these are individual activities which would progress by percentage or a quantity, as we're going to do shortly, but also if you've got residential activities identified by a plot number and build stage, we have this area that we call the tick sheet, and that's where it lists each plot. If I tap on a plot, I drill down inside it, and here are all the details that make up that individual plot, and we'll return to those details shortly. The other thing that we've got here is the ability to sort the information. So on the three dots at the top, and this is a Android application, so the navigation is slightly different to an Apple navigation, and then we can, it's already sorted by natural order, how it is laid out in the origin project, but you can also resort it by alphabetical names of activities. The other thing that's possible and possibly more useful is I can search for something. So I want to see all those activities that contain the letter S, or I want to see all of the plots that are starting with a 3 or contain a 3. So it's very easy to jump to things if you can't find them in just straightforward navigation. So now we want to talk about progressing the activities themselves, and there are status indicators. So we've got a red cross, and if we drill down into one of the plots, we can see we've got an orange exclamation mark, and these are the status indicators that are controlled through the Powerproject user publishing, and they can be suppressed. But if it's indicated, a red cross means this should be 100% complete. So if we click on this, tap on this activity, we drill down inside it, and we have a whole page. And if you've got a big enough screen, you'll see the whole thing. And these are all of the things about this particular activity from the program. So last time, previously, progress was entered and we were 65% complete. At that future progress date, the 9th of June, we are planned to be 100% complete. So it's a question then of estimating what we've done. So we can either say that we're 100% done by moving this slider in steps of 5%, or we can tap on the round symbol with the percentage sign, and we can type in a value there. So we can say that is 100%, and even if it's not 100%, we can then say we can put in an actual finish date. So we can choose from a selector. So so this was finished on the 27th of May, and that will automatically make it 100% complete if you put in an actual finish date. And of course, we can also say how long it's taken us to do. So I don't want to edit that. We have taken 5 days. I've got it has been inspected, and that's the information. And again, we've got a date selector if we've got that a date field to complete. So and even if we have some hours and minutes, we can include that in there. So we have that information. We've done everything about that task, and we can go back to the task list and have a look at the next task. So that was progressed by percentage, and you can see that when we have edited an activity, that the fact you've edited it is highlighted because it's got a different background color. So when you come back to this, you'll always see which ones you've been in before. So we're going to tap on remediation, because in this version of site progress, we can also progress on quantity. So if that has been defined in the Powerproject project, there was a total quantity of 1600 number, just a definition of a unit, and previously it was reported that we'd done 700, and at this date in the future, the 9th of June, or by that date, we should have done the full amount, 1600, but it hasn't gone as well as we anticipated, and we've only done 1500. So when we move down the page after that, we can start to think about, well, how long is there remaining? So just in days, we can say we've got 2 days remaining on that one. And we can choose time units here. So the little clock on the right hand side, if we click on the clock, we can pick different time units. So by default, With this setting, it's in days, and that has actually taken us 6 days to do that amount of work. So the duration in the current period is marked as 6 days, and we're not going to inspect it yet because it's not done. So we can return to the summary from which it came. So that's the situation there. We can look at the substation activity. So again, so there are 4 number substations. We should have done 3.2. We've done up to this point, we've done 2.5, and we actually started it on the 31st of May. So we can put in an actual start, which our planned start here was the 29th of May. So we actually started a bit later than that, and it's taken us, we've got 4 days remaining, and it's taken us 6 days to get to that point. So we don't have to fill in those extra bits, but it does give you that much more information on which to base the plan. So we've updated our tasks that are before the residential work starts. And now if we look at plot number 10, if we click on that, we drill down to the build stages, and it's got little ticks on the left hand side, which is why it's called a tick mark. So if I click on the drains build stage, that is set to be 100% complete. So are all the other previous ones, because that is a way of setting that in Powerproject to do that. You can do it individually. It's not overridden. You can still say, well, I've only done 50% of that one. So it's just a starting point. We haven't actually started the first lift brickwork, so we're going to click on that, and we can drill down behind it with the 3 little dots, and we haven't done any of that, in fact. So what if we haven't done any progress, it does allow us to edit the forecast dates. This is if you're allowed to do this. It's a setting in Powerproject by the user. He can allow this to be edited or stop it being edited, but we don't think we can we'll actually get onto that work until the 12th of June. So we can't add any progress now because we've got a forecast date. So you can only do that in this situation. So you can't change the duration. You can only change the forecast date. So we're going to go up a level. We're going to go down to plot 30 and say everything that should have been done has been done. Look, we would have been ahead of ourselves if we'd done drains, and well ahead of ourselves if we'd done the first lift brickwork. So we do get some visual clues. Some people like to turn them off because it can be too easy for people just to tick all the things that have got a red tick against it. When it comes to plot 35, the last thing that we've done this week, we've only done, we can say we've done, the quickest way is to do that and say, well, we've only done 50% of the brickwork to DPC. So we could drill down with the 3 dots to the detail behind that and put in an actual start date and the remaining duration, but it will just take the default if I accept it at that point. So that's how we edit any of the tasks, either in the task list individually or with the tick sheet if there's a plot number and multiple tasks on the same row identified by color codes called build stages. So once you've done some editing, or as you do that editing, then it's possible to add notes to the activity. So if I click on the road base, and I would probably do this as I went through the job, as I was looking at this operation, there are 2 symbols at the bottom of the screen, a pencil and a camera. So if I click on the pencil icon, we go to an area where we can add notes, and we can also look at any previous notes that were added in previous progress updates, so we can see what the history is at this point. But if we come to add a new note, there's a plus sign at the bottom. Click on the plus sign. We can choose a heading for this note from a list that has been published to us by the Powerproject user. So I need to select that, and I can leave it that, but I can tap in here and I can add further information. So we could say all tests passed, for example. So we can add individual notes to tasks, and you can see when you go back to that activity that the pencil has got a little tick mark next to it. It shows you you've got a new note at that point. So notes are useful because they're retained in the project. They give a narrative of why these settings were set. But the best way, or a very demonstrable way, is to take a photograph. So there's a photograph icon which leads us to this screen where we haven't yet got any attachments. We can either take a new photograph on our device's camera, or we can pick a picture that already exists on that device. So I've got one that I've taken previously. So we can select a photograph, and you can have many photographs. So you can have dozens of photographs every progress period, but you're going to create some large data sizes to which you've got to throw around. So, but if you made a mistake, you can take a photograph and you can just drag it to the right, and then you can click on the trash can if you want to delete it. But if you want to edit one further, you tap on a photograph and you've got more information available, and it does say to tap on the photograph again if you want to edit it. So this version of Site Progress supports the editing of photographs on the phone. So I can, for example, draw objects on the body of the photograph. So I can draw people's attention to an area here, for example. I can add some text to this, which I might want to make blue, and I can move that about, and I can tap on that and say check seating, for example. Neck seating. Which we can move about and we can make bigger and smaller. So it's just a useful way of passing information on to the people you're reporting this back to. So you can add photos, you can add a number of photos, and you can see when you return to the task that that has got new photos attached to it. So now we can return to the task list, and we have almost completed our work, but I just want to show you one other feature. So it is possible, if you're allowed to do that, to add a new activity to this collection of tasks in the project. So if we click on the plus sign, we've got the ability to add a new name here. So we might have had to add some new paths as an extra item, and that's likely to happen on the 17th of June, so we can feed that information back, and we can say that it's going to take us 5 days to do that. So we have those abilities to add new events if you're allowed to do that, but they can only be in the future, and you can't progress them. So they've got to go back into the Powerproject plan. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to submit this information. So we've finished with it on the phone or our iPad. It's at the end of the week we were supposed to do this, and if we tap on the three bars at the top right hand corner of the Android navigation system, it's a slightly different place in the Apple system. We can click on submit, but before I actually do that, I just want to show you that you do have to be in a project to do that. If we're at the list of projects, we can't submit it because it doesn't know which project we're in, because there might be more than one. So we have to be in a project. We don't have to be on a task. We can have everything closed up, but we need to be at that state. And this is a point where you need to have a signal. You might want to wait till you get some Wi-Fi if you've taken a lot of photographs. So we just click on submit, and then it's going to be gone from my phone when it's finished this process. And just depending on the quality of your connection and the number of photographs, because they can be large, it's going to send that back to the cloud. and then it's all gone from my phone and I've finished. But there is still one situation where if the information that I've uploaded has not yet been drawn down by the Powerproject author, and I've forgotten something and I want to add it quickly, I can see where it says pull down to refresh up here. Then I can just pull down the screen, and it's going to go back to the server and say, oh, is there anything there still there? And I can recall a submitted project. So if I tap on that, it tells me that I can bring it back down and change its status, but any previously submitted photos won't be editable. So they'll still be there, but you can't change them. So I'm just going to say no at this point, but it's a good feature to be able to correct a mistake before it's brought in by the Powerproject user. So we've reached the end of this section. That's everything you need to know about using the mobile app on Android, Apple, or coming soon Windows 10.